Technology and Communications. Let's stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
Support.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, thank you. Okay, what about the May 1st minutes?
I'll move them. I'll move the approval.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Any discussion or opposition? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we're good to go. We are up to limited public comment. Nathan? Okay, you're good. All right. Moving on to item number 6, Communications Director update.
Afternoon, Commissioners. So active communications running right now. We do have an ad in Flashes in the County Journal for Resources Recovery's Recycling Fever event. We're already at about 437 registrations. I know that Resource Recovery is very excited about that. I spoke to it this morning as well at a chamber meeting, and there was a lot of people asking questions about it. We know that the scrap tires are extraordinarily popular whenever we offer something like that. Our newsletter is out, and it also is running in the County Journal as well, so you'll see that in the next week or so. And we also did a lot of promotions around the Parks and Recreation strategic planning events that just happened. And though those weren't as widely attended as we would have liked, speaking with Williams and Works, they're really happy with the feedback that they did get. And I know some commissioners were able to attend as well. Any questions on any of that?
Okay, Mr. Toomey.
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to ask, could you send me the square version? This is a square, right? It's kind of warped on my screen here, but the one you sent in the newsletter, I was trying to share it, but it would cut it off because it was like in an 8.5 by 11.
For the Resource Recovery event?
Yeah.
You got it.
Thank you.
You got it.
Any other questions?
Moving on quickly to social media a bit. As of May 30th, we did see an increase of 469 followers. In the last 90 days, that we're up to 806 new folks following us, with about 917 direct interactions with our organic posts. We also saw a 258% increase in total reach month to month, which we're really happy about, and that's due to these new followers, but also some fairly popular posts that we had, especially around parks events, and the call to action post and community survey we did around Crandall Park community art. That was shared far, far and wide, and we had a whole lot of interaction, and I'll dive into that in a little bit too when I get to the website as well. There was a lot of negative comments and interactions, but also some fairly good, positive ones too. The loudest voices are often more negative on social media, as we all know. But in general, every post since then has seen an uptick in engagement because of that. So people are watching. Moving on to the website here. Again, we are on track. Monthly shout out to Liz, Tech Services. We love you, Liz. We're moving right along with Civic Plus. I was actually able on the website to get a sneak peek in some of the design work they're doing on the back end. So actually, it says mid-June here, but at the end of next week, I believe, we're set to review some preliminary design work that they're doing. So I'm really excited for that. We are right on track, and again, those major changes will be top-line navigation change, central embedded search bar, and then updates to a lot of our modules on that home page, and then as well as the layout of our secondary pages will be different. So county website in general saw just over 29,000 users for May. That was an increase of about 4,000 individuals, and that increase did show us shorter engagement time per event. So per time someone's visiting our website, it's down to less than a minute. So we're sitting at about 58-second average. And again, once we have this website refresh, we'll be able to more cleanly use Google Analytics to try and map out how we can up that engagement and get the numbers where we want them. But a lot of that increase in users is that Crandall Park survey that we did. So we hosted that on our website in general, hoping to actually also get some more traffic to our website. And that Crandall Park art piece is funded through the PNC Foundation. We had one submission for an RFP we did, and we wanted to get some public feedback for that. We saw over 600 folks complete the survey with about 1,500 folks visiting the site. And then as we shared that on social media, we saw over 30,000 individuals engage with that across all the shares that happened. And different municipalities were sharing it, different art groups, and in different forums folks were sharing it. So we were pretty happy with the actual traction we got with that, and very surprised, frankly. But we'll take what we can get. Any questions on that?
I don't see any.
Oh, and I would say too, the results of that survey and such, that'll be at Public Works and Planning. We're gonna find a way to try and showcase that in a clean way for Public Works. Moving on to media, in May, I just kind of listed and linked all the major media spots that we had. Deputy paramedic program was picked up far and wide. Sheriff's Office shift coverage, as you may have seen, that got quite a bit of coverage, and I want to thank you all for your patience and also reaching out to me as we learn new information. A lot of you shared information with me, which was very, very valuable. So that was a saga, but we got through it, and actually in the end had some pretty good coverage out there. Prosecutor's Office, again, that justification for the officer-involved shooting in January, Lansing State Journal picked that up. Parks Community Grant as well, WKAR and Fox 47, Commissioner Augustine did a great job speaking with them. Prosecutor's Office coverage again for the big court TV thing this year that occurred with his case. News 10 and People Magazine. County Advisory Tax Limitation Committee, Michigan Business Network, and WKAR interviewed with me, Commissioner Mott, and Commissioner Augustine for 2 different spots. Public Defender's Office had a piece in Fox 47, and the Trial Courts Amnesty Program was also picked up on News 10. Now, some of these, like the Public Defender's Office, the Amnesty Program, those kind of organically came about. That wasn't necessarily something we were hunting for or put a specific press release out, but we're really happy that they did cover Eaton County. Any questions on media?
Commissioner Haskell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for doing the best you could with the Sheriff's Office shift coverage while you were on vacation and everything else. I was getting emails while I was at Michigan Adventure with my daughter's 4th grade class. I don't know what exactly I'd like to see out of this, but it seems like there is some post-mortem kind of that we could do with how that was handled with information either between departments and then also getting out to the commissioners as a whole. So I don't have much more to say beyond that, but just if there's anything that I can do to help bridge some gaps there, let me know.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you anybody that did give us that information. There was some non and miscommunication that occurred across departments, and as we were fed new information, we tried to get it out as best we could. Some planned communication that was supposed to go out ended up not going out for whatever reason, and so we had to adapt, and unfortunately we couldn't pivot as fast as we should have. And so you're right, there is postmortem to do, and I've been talking with the Sheriff's Office, and we're working on making sure that line of communication is far cleaner.
Thank you.
Commissioner Toomey.
Yeah, just 2 things. One, I really like this news recap for the month. I like that's in the report. I like this whole new format. It's a lot more concise. So thank you. Really appreciate that. And I guess I just want to echo Commissioner Haskell's sentiments. That was not ideal. And so, yeah, whatever we can do to streamline that process, communication between departments, I would really appreciate, because we just needed to have a better grasp on the situation. Especially like decisions like that, whether they're made or not, it would be good for the board to know as well, just so we're kind of in the loop. Like, I understand it's not our decision, but I know that it's not necessarily your fault or anybody else's fault, but just trying to make that a little cleaner in the future would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right.
A couple of project updates to close my report here. The tax limitation alteration, that whole process, thank you all for your patience with that. We do have a web page out there that is being updated basically daily. And we're kind of already out in the community a bit, but our hands were a little tied. We're waiting on that committee to meet tomorrow, and potentially more than tomorrow, but to get an understanding of the direction we're finally going to head. And, once that is finalized, I'm working with Edge and working with departments to make sure that, there's going to be a toolkit to get the information out the door and toolkits for elected officials to get information out the door and departments as well, should they want to make sure that we're getting that informational campaign pushed out there. So again, thank you for your patience on that. This has been a fun process, and we're coming to the real start of it. County Impact Campaign that I referenced last month, that's a digital information campaign showcasing county services. Again, working with Edge on getting some preliminary design stuff done, and we're going to try and blanket both print and digital spaces to not just talk about that tax limitation alteration, but to also talk about the county services and what potentially we stand to lose should we not find more revenue and what that's going to mean, and getting that information out there. The stuff we've done on social media around that and in the newsletter, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from, so I'm excited about that, but it's just getting started. And then print materials, finally, I know months and months ago I talked about it and worked with some of you on this. We are going to have a general county handout, printable, that has nothing to do with the tax limitation alteration or anything like that, but it's going to be about county services, how government works, and how the county commissioners and what your job is. That's something that we can share out to showcase, this is what the county offers. And that's something we wanted to get out a long time ago, and it's finally happening. So thank you for your patience on that as well. That concludes my report.
So for the tax limitation communications that will be heading out to our districts and specific by region, I would love an opportunity to sit down and talk with you about the Delta specifics, considering some of the votes that they've taken on public safety in the past and how that makes this a unique challenge. And then with that, any other communications that we can show, like the services outside of just, the sheriff's office and the fine job they do. But that's, I think that's going to be a hard sell for them. And I'm really looking forward to tackling that head on, so.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I'll be talking to any commissioner and any elected official, and that works already, and township officials too, on exactly how we want to get the information out and in the best way. And so those are conversations we need to have. I wish we could have had them months ago, but now, yeah. So look for those communications coming your way as well, because I would like to sit down with everyone.
Cool.
Any other questions? Commissioner Holmes?
More of a comment. Now, you got together with township officials recently about the tax limitation. Yeah, because I got very positive feedback from a trustee in Brookfield Township that was there. So
Good.
he thought it went really well, got information and whatever, so.
Yeah, and for context, basically, we had all that could make it, which was, I think, most of, I'm trying to think who couldn't make it. I think pretty much everybody was here, aside for one or two maybe. All the township supervisors or a designee that they chose came here, saw a presentation, and we left the room and allowed them, because they had to select a representative for the tax limitation committee. And so they deliberated, we had great conversations with them, and they chose their representative. So I'm really glad to hear that they appreciated that process. We don't have a township association in the county, so that's why we tried to facilitate something for them, and they're looking forward to hopefully coming to more meetings at the county, to meet with commissioners and have discussions around what's ailing any given township in the county.
They also appreciate the commissioners attending their board meetings as well. So we heard some positive feedback on that.
All right. Excuse me, any other questions? Okay. Oh. Ooh. Scott, you have a question? Yeah, I do. Oh, okay. Which one? This one? Yep. I can hear you.
There you go.
Okay. I was at the Calamo Township meeting on Monday night, but I sort of got the different opinion from the supervisor there when they went into that closed session. He said the majority of them wasn't going to be able to support that tax millage change. And so I don't know. It's really going to be a hard sell, I guess, to take and communicate everything. And of course, he's a farmer and he's got, large land mass and everything too, of what it's going to cost him for increases, and or the land that he rents out, that they're going to want more increase for land rent and everything too. So Yeah,
Yeah,
much different than maybe someone in Delta Township that only has a $200,000 or $300,000 home compared to a farmer that has maybe got assets of well over $1 million in land.
yeah, it's tricky. It's going to be difficult. You know, we have to get this information out, and it's going to vary by, you know, township by township, precinct by precinct, you know, what matters to these folks, and we got to get that information out to them. So, yeah, I acknowledge that it's going to be tricky, and not everybody's going to be supportive, but at the very least, we want them to understand why we're doing it.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Logan. Don't run off, though. You'll be back. Eric?
Good afternoon. I don't have any action items for you this afternoon. I just wanted to provide basically project status update that projects that have occurred over the last 30 days since we met. One of the major milestone projects that was kicked off yesterday is we successfully moved Central Dispatch operations to their temporary location in the EOC of the 911 building. That was a coordinated effort between AT&T, Crouch Communications, Central Dispatch, and Technology Services Department staff. As of this morning, 6 a.m. shift, 3 of the dispatch staff logged in and were operating out of the new temporary location. Before noon today, the remaining 2 staff were downstairs, so they are 100% operating out of their temporary location in the EOC now. So that was a major feat, and it went off with huge success. So the timeline for that project, next week, a company will come in and start moving the remaining furniture out of that space. And as part of that project, Technology Services will be rewiring that entire facility with new network cables, upgrading that, future-proofing that for the rest of our duration here. And they're slated to start going back into that facility back in late July, early August. That's what the project timeline is, to have them back in their permanent space. So hopefully everything goes as designed. Any questions about that project? Another project we've been working on, this has been long anticipated, is updating our personnel change form. The form that the county has used for years and years was designed in a time where networking and position requirements were much simpler. So we're utilizing intern that is currently enrolled at Ferris State University. It's been a fantastic resource. His academic path is in application development, so this was a perfect fit for us. This is a project that we have had on our radar for quite some time. He has a unique skill set and has, we basically provided him with a rough idea of what we're looking for. He's taken that off and running and is making huge progress with that. So we're looking forward to presenting, the demo model of this or prototype early July to department heads, and hopefully updating, putting this into production late July. So basically, you can kind of conceptualize a form of being a couple pages. The new form is probably 5-6 pages, and it's intuitive and has, as it's progressive, if you will. If you start asking or answering certain questions, you get a different set of questions moving forward. So really, at the end of the day, setting up a new employee is much more complicated than it was, say, 5-10 years ago. We need a lot more information from department heads of what that position needs, from practicing a least privilege access for security reasons. And this will only help our efficiencies in getting new employees off and running in a more efficient manner. So looking forward to getting that completed, and our intern has been fantastic so far. So he's been a great asset to our team for the summer. Glad to have him. On the flip side of that, we have a position vacancy within the department now. Received a letter of resignation on the 17th of May. I was able to fill that vacancy with an internal promotion, but now we have a vacancy for PC Tech. I am very excited that we have a very healthy applicant pool so far, and we're going to start scheduling interviews next week. So that's unfortunate, but exciting that there are people that are interested in the position that we have open now. Any questions regarding that? Fortunately, he has another year, another semester outside would be all about that. Another quick project update. The county will be enduring a phone system upgrade over the weekend, starting Friday night. This is required. This isn't new hardware. This is purely a software upgrade. It's required for security patching and feature enhancements, updates that are needed. The platform that we're currently on now is reaching end of life, and we need to move. So an email went out today to departments letting them know that there'll be brief disruption to non-emergency phone lines over the course of Friday night and through Sunday night. We're intending just to be brief intermittent outages throughout that maintenance window, but again, no disruption to 911 or emergency phone lines. Any questions about that? Yeah. Another phone-related update we're working on with the Barre Eaton District Health Department. We're looking at moving them to a hosted phone system, basically takes them off of the county's phone system right now, moves them to their own cloud-hosted solution. This really fits the model of their organization, of the portability that they try to leverage, and truly getting them back on their own hardware and manage. So that's something we're waiting on quotes back from a couple vendors. At this point, we're hopeful to have those back by end of next week, make some decisions, and that's a project that the health department wants to move forward with yet this summer. So provided that the quotes come back in favorable, the scope of work is within spec, we should be starting that probably late July. Any questions about that? Another planned project that we're working on this month, Economics Crime Unit location in the Lansing Mall. They're slated to receive new network equipment. Again, this is equipment that's necessary because of aging equipment that's there. It's basically the software vendor is determined that that equipment that's in place now is end of life. This was a budgeted project for this fiscal year. We're just getting to it now. Also, kind of a residual benefit of this project, we're able to work out a renegotiate internet service contract for that location, and we're going to reduce their annual service bill by approximately 50%. So that's a nice little bonus of that project as well. So any questions about that project?
Yeah, this office at the Lansing Mall, what actually goes on there?
Basically, it's almost like fee diversions, isn't it?
Yeah, it's diversions for any economic crime, so bad checks. They do work for Secretary of State and also for, well, they used to, I think, for MDHHS, do collections for them. So they take in diversion fees to operate. It's self-sufficient serving department, but it is in our general fund.
Another project regarding the Parks Department. This project was at Lincoln Brick. The internet service is fully operational there now. That service was installed by Tri-County Electric or Homeworks Electric. Per the request of the Parks Department, they had asked for us to extend our secure county network there, so that way they can have staff work there, just as they were here on campus or at Fitzgerald Park. So we were able to accomplish that last week. In addition to that, they'd asked to install some security camera. So there is now a security camera on the facility there, watching the parking lot of the main building there and the gate entrance. There's also kind of a benefit of that of different meetings that are held there, or if the space is rented, they have the ability to have internet access there. They can offer if wanted or needed, requested, public Wi-Fi there as well. So that'll be a nice benefit to have there at that location. So any questions about that? Last thing I have, this is just kind of an update from last month, the Tri-County Aerial Imagery Project. This is a joint effort between representatives within Clinton, Ingham, and Eaton counties, City of Lansing, Board of Water, Light, Delta Township, Delhi Township. Actually, representatives met today and reviewed 5 proposals that were submitted for the Tri-County region. They basically met today. I wasn't able to attend because of the dispatch move, but John Merrick, our GIS administrator from our office, attended. And basically, the team had went through the scoring metrics of that, decided what they were going to do with that. They've determined that all the scoring will have to be turned back into Tri-County by the 12th, which I believe is Wednesday next week, or thereabouts. And then Tri-County is going to tally the scores. They're going to meet again on the 12th. And then that Friday, Tri-County will announce the award of who that project is going to. So again, this is a 5-year rolling project. I've been part of this since 2005. So it's exciting. We've been able to do this every 5 years. It's brought a lot of benefit. There's a lot of cost savings of doing a joint venture project within the Tri-County group. And we're excited to do this again.
Commissioner Haskell.
I seem to remember there being a discrepancy over the resolution of like what we would want to use versus a lot of the other region. Have they been able to kind of negotiate that out, or?
Yeah, so basically the proposals are kind of a la carte. So Eaton County has historically went with a 4-inch pixel resolution. Clinton County has went with a 6-inch. Ingham County has went with a 4-inch. As reported today to me, Clinton County is looking at moving to the Eaton County model of a 4-inch. They felt the need is there. Now you get into the smaller, more urbanized areas of Delta Township, Delhi Township. Now they increase their spec of that imagery a little bit. They go into what's called a 3-inch pixel, or what they call a true ortho imagery. I'm gonna get a little techie here, but it's basically increasing your side lap of your photo so you don't get building lean, so you don't see shadow. So when you get into more of a DPW-esque need for imagery of identifying fire hydrants or curbs, gutters, manhole covers, things like that, that's where you want what's called that true ortho. So different needs for different applications. General county applications and purposes don't need that heavier spec, if you will, which has increased cost. We can make do with our needs for a 60/40 side lap, if you will. But I don't know if that answered your question. Okay.
Any other questions?
That concludes my report.
All righty. Moving on to miscellaneous. There's a couple things I want to bring up in this. Well, yeah, it's both related, but we're looking at a booth at the fair for the county. And I've been told that the county can't be the one that pays for it and can't staff it. But the purpose of this booth would be to get this information out that Logan was talking about the financial state of our county and whatever else we want to put out there. The other side to that was if we don't staff it, can we come up with some kind of video loop? And Logan, is there any progress on that, or have you had a discussion? Or?
Eric and I have talked about it. We're not sure how we can do it and leave. A couple of things that make it tricky is leaving technology there, and also what technology do we have that we potentially either could leave there or that could produce this? Because we could run a presentation on a loop. I wish we had a video or something, but we don't have enough time to produce and pay for something like that. So it's still kind of in limbo right
Okay.
now, but we've discussed it.
All right. Well, at Ways and Means, I'm going to propose that each of the commissioners contribute $25 to this so that we can get this information out that we need to get out, and on a broad scale rather. There's a lot of people that come through the Eaton County Fair, and the basement of the grandstand is a focal point for many people that go in and out of there. Just go from one end of the fairgrounds to the other, but also to stop in. There's been food vendors and that sort of thing in there. So I think this will be an advantage for us. It's just that we've got to, if we are gonna staff it, we have to do it as county commissioners, or we have to provide somebody that's not on the county payroll. And it's not just gonna be about, the financial aspect of our county, but also the services that are offered. I mean, Logan did the rundown on the information. But we're gonna have to be ready to answer questions, because we're not gonna be able to relate to people what we need or what's going on just by a piece of paper. We need feet on the ground, people that are willing to do that. So this will come up again, but that's my proposal, is that,
Ryan, I have a question.
certainly, Barb,
How much is the booth cost?
I'm thinking it was like right around $300.
Right around 300?
Right around 300, yeah.
Well, you know, I really think it would behoove the county commissioners to seriously think about this to promote the county. I mean, it isn't, you know, to promote, a lot of people don't even realize how important county government is. Some people don't even know it exists,
Right.
other than the clerk and the treasurer and that sort of thing. And I think this would be a very positive thing for the county.
Commissioner Toomey.
Logan, can you explain to me a little bit, if it's for just pure communication purposes, why the county is not able to have a booth there?
You mean like pay for it?
Yeah, or have staff, like, that are paid for their time there, but if it's informational in nature, like, why, can you explain that?
A lot of it has to do with first capacity for who we could send there for that time frame, what we're already doing. But, you know, a lot of it has to do with, even if it is, so if we say we pay for it, we have a booth, it's for informational purposes, but elected officials are there. Those elected officials obviously you guys can say what you want about any sort of campaign initiative or ballot initiative that's there. But the precedence hasn't been set for the county to always be at that location promoting information and such. So after talking with some of our consults about this, it was, the optics of that isn't good. It sets us up for a bit of a disaster when it comes to, so if, say there's commissioners there, staff can't be there at an X certain point in time, or there's staff and a commissioner there, or another elected, and the elected, you know, can say what they want about any ballot initiative, but the staff can't. The county is providing that platform at that point, and we haven't set any precedent leading into that to where we've been at the county every year, we're always there, we're always promoting our services.
Understood, and I understand starting it this year, that makes sense, that reasoning, but I think that it could be wise to start that in the future. I mean, it is a big event, a lot of, just generally for information's sake, it's a good event to be involved in, so I think that's something we should consider in the future. To that point, if this is not gonna be an official county sanctioned thing, I don't really see, if we wanna discuss that as commissioners outside of Ways, I don't think it's really appropriate or the necessary step to put that through Ways and Means. If we wanted, because it's not an official county business at that point, I think if we want to discuss that, but I don't know what the proper procedure for that would be.
Well, the only reason I was saying Ways and Means is because we, usually at that meeting, we have the majority of the commissioners on hand, and it would just be a matter of discussion at that point, just asking if we want to go ahead and do that. I mean, we could do it at the commissioners meeting also, which it probably will come up at the commissioners meeting. But this is just in the planning stages right now. I think it's important that if we do this, that we continue it on. We just keep it going year after year, because I think it's important, especially if we do pass, if the residents do pass a millage increase, that they know exactly where those funds are going.
I agree with you. I think that it should be annual.
Yeah.
I guess to that point as well, I know we don't have time to produce video or anything like that. I know that you've been in that, stall before at the county, not the stall, but like that center piece that a lot of folks walk through. I've been there. I don't think a lot of people will be stopping to look at a presentation in any capacity. It's not really what they're there for.
Well, what Logan and I talked about was, if we staff this with commissioners, we don't need to be there before noon, and we certainly don't need to stay after 8 p.m. So if we had something in there in the morning hours to run for an hour, 2 hours, something like that, I think that would be helpful, but it's not absolutely necessary. So, I mean, if it's not secure enough to keep equipment down there, then so be it. We will have paper, and then when we staff it with the commissioners or whom we get to go in there, then we will make sure they've got the answers that are needed. So we can sell this as commissioners, but our hired staff, our paid staff can't. They have to remain neutral in it.
Yeah, I understand that. That's not what I was saying. I was saying, yeah, if you want to have it on that capacity, I don't know if that's official county business at that point.
Well, it's technically, no, it's not, but yes, it is, because we're putting out information, and it's sponsored by the commissioners, which I think would be appropriate. Commissioner Haskell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I love the idea. I just want to make sure that we don't cross any legal lines on this. Usually, if you are advocating for some sort of ballot initiative or even yourself for reelection, there's always that paid for by XYZ at the bottom of whatever literature you're putting out. And if we have to take something that is being produced by the county to advocate for a possible millage approval, are by your labor, are we kind of violating that? I just want to make sure that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot while we're doing this is all.
I wouldn't produce anything. Anything that would be produced would have to have exactly what you're talking about on it. But from the county side, what we've produced is, what are our services, how's government work, that piece I talked about in my report, as well as informational stuff.
Right.
And on the informational stuff, if it's printed and that kind of thing, then yeah, I would say paid for by Eaton County, but it would be informational only. It wouldn't have anything to do with
Okay.
promoting anything. And that wouldn't be something we're producing just for this event. That's something that is going to be readily available to anyone that wants it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a very good point. It's
Yeah.
it's tricky.
I mean, like even with the paying for the booth and, if there is a vote yes on whatever initiative eventually, that would be what should be doing this kind of work. Yeah, I don't know where to take it, I guess. I just want to make sure that we don't get ourselves in any sort of issues.
We've had discussion with legal counsel on that. So we do have an FAQ that we will put out that the board members will receive as to the type of communication that we're limited to as staff, which is information only, as Logan said, strict information. We'll have the webpage up that we would have up at any time. We should have been doing years ago, right? Like we talked about, having a booth at the fair to let the people know what we're doing. But anything that is coming that has any type of, for or against cannot be produced by the county. So a ballot question committee could be formed, but that can't be done by staff, by the county. That would have to be independent, so.
Commissioner Toomey?
Dang, no, I'm having problems with the button. I guess to kind of round out that discussion, I understand this will probably be brought up again in the future. I don't think I'm very comfortable with this. If I would like to see this done, I'd like to see it just done by the county, informational on an annual basis. I just don't think it's the right place to be doing this, but that's just my take, so.
Well, I think moving forward, once this ballot issue is not in front of us, this millage issue, I think that we probably could put somebody down there. But again, it's the appearance. If we say we're gonna pay somebody to spend their day at the fair, how do we justify that with our taxpayers that are looking at that and saying, wow, what's that costing me?
Yeah, I
Well, I
agree
mean,
with
we've
you.
gone through this with others.
I'm just,
I mean, I don't know if
So-
you're getting questions on the youth facility or our support vehicle for the sheriff, but I get those questions, and you have to say, okay, this is a grant. This is the kind of information we need to get out. That youth facility did not come out of the general fund. Now, the support of it, the operation of it will, but the facility itself did not come out of our general fund, the same way with that vehicle that the sheriff's department is getting. So, and people, they hear it, and they hear what they want to hear, and then they form an opinion on what they wanted to hear, and then they decide which path they're gonna go down. Phone calls are good, phone calls are bad. So, I mean, it's just like our parks millage. I still get calls. I've got Fox Park and Crandall Park in my district. I still get calls from people. What's going on with Crandall Park? We don't see any buildings. We don't see anything new. It's still a park, but it's not what they want it to be or what they had heard it was gonna be. So it's this kind of information that we need to prepare to share. Now, historically, it's my understanding that we have had a booth at the fair in the past, and I don't know how long ago that was. So, and I don't think anybody in here short of maybe Barb, maybe Joe was on commission
I've been
then?
here as long as Joe, so.
Okay, you don't recall having a booth down there? Okay, so.
No, I do know that 911 has a area that they are for educational purposes. So it's obviously, kids coming up, teaching them about 911. I think Kelly has been working on, and I don't know when she's doing these programs, but they can actually look at car seats and how they're installed to safely, properly put those in a car and show parents how to do that. So they do strictly informational. The sheriff's office, back in the day, used to have the mobile command unit there. They used to talk about what services they do. They used to have a mounted division that was there as well. So those were, again, all informational things. But since the county itself, as overall services, has not done that, stepping into that right now is really not the way to go for the county to fund anything of that nature, because we have not been doing that. So.
So maybe that'll, something we address in a meeting. I don't know what that would come out of, Ways and Means, or what that would come out of.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to support it in the future. I'm just not supportive of it right now. So, thank you.
Well, there's no action on this right now. This was information.
Yep, just making my point clear.
I guess my comments are, we're thinking of how to get information out of what the county needs, what it needs to survive, kind of, and that would be a place just to get information out. Now, the logistics of who does it and all that should be worked out, but I think, like you mentioned, a lot of people come through there, and once this, what do you say, topic gets out there, a lot more people is gonna be paying attention, not just walking through, and I'm sure they just walk through a lot, because that's the way I do it. I just see who all's there, and I keep going. But once they know this is coming up, a topic they need to find out about, I think you will get some participation, so.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, that's all I had for miscellaneous at this time. Nathan, here's your chance again. Okay, Scott.
Okay. My thoughts would be, that, it's just another outreach, sort of like our town hall meetings with individuals, and probably a more relaxed setting for people that do come through to actually speak to a commissioner and find out who they are, and all the information that Logan was mentioning a few minutes ago about an informative package about commissioners and what they do, and the different departments, and how the county actually functions and everything. So I think it would be a good idea to take and move into something like that, and get that one-to-one. Not all the commissioners would be there at one time, but it would give them a opportunity to relate to a lot of the people that wouldn't come to a town hall meeting here or something, or maybe even call or something, or go on the website. I think a lot of the information that Logan's putting on the website could be presented to people, even if they were passing through, having like the monthly newsletter or something like that for a handout would be very beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah, I will say one more thing, that I would expect that if and when the commissioners who would be in that booth are there, it wouldn't be about whether you're running again or not. Both parties are represented in that same area. So if somebody comes up and asks you that question, you can say, hey, my stuff's down the hallway, and leave it at that. You don't have to sell yourself. We're talking about what's going on in the county. So anyway, any other questions or comments on that? All right, back to Nathan. That's it, really? You got this one opportunity, man. Well, two, yeah. All right, hearing nothing else from the group, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.